and had been building their own myths virtually since the day they first put on uniform. Dieppe marred the heroic canvas depicting their wartime achievements, and it was perhaps to be expected that they would take every opportunity to touch up the picture. Yet their interest concealed deeper concerns. Dieppe was more than just another painful station on the calvary of failure that preceded the Allies' change of fortunes. It was a defeat, but also a great human tragedy that, to those most closely involved in it, seemed to require not just vindication, but absolution. In the summer of 1942, the last thing the Allies needed was another disaster. In the Dieppe raid, that is what they got. The news of the attack produced first surprise, then dismay, and finally bewilderment. What I don't understand is why Dieppe, puzzled Major General Percy Hobart in a letter to the military historian and expert Basil Liddell-Hart. A raid is either to obtain information and destroy some worthwhile objective, or it is to train one's own troops. In the latter case, one would not select a strongly defended sector. In the former, what was the objective? Evidently, we did not reach it. It all sounds pretty Passchendaele to me. The reference was to the notorious 1917 battle on the Western Front, when thousands of Allied troops, many of them Canadians, floundered to their deaths in an ocean of mud. Some of the Jubilee survivors reached for a different episode from British military history to describe what they had endured. It was, they said, just like the charge of the Light Brigade. The difference was that in this case, 6,000, mostly Canadians, had been sent into the jaws of death, rather than the 670 or so who had charged the Russian guns at Balaclava in 1854. Soon, no comparisons were necessary, and Dieppe stood in its own right as a metaphor for bloody futility. Hobart's questions have never been properly answered. In the thousands of official documents generated by the preparations for Jubilee, the military objectives of the raid are laid out clearly enough. There is very little that reveals the higher purpose. Almost all the explanations and justifications supplied by those who planned and mounted it came afterwards. The hole in the story where a clearly stated intention should be has subsequently been filled by several theories. Some have sought to uncover a secret motivation that clears up the mystery, or to explain it through the malign behavior of a principal actor or actors. This audiobook, while making its own contribution to what we know about why things happened as they did, offers a broader explanation. Dieppe provides in miniature a display of the way that human qualities, failings, and passions that are held in check by the constraints of peacetime tend to run free in times of war. Those at the top were driven by a complicated and sometimes contradictory combination of motives of the sort that only the strange moral ambiance of wartime can produce. Patriotism and duty, yes, but also reckless ambition. Jubilee might have been small compared with what was to come, but it was big at this stage in the conflict, the largest amphibious assault that Britain had attempted since being driven from the continent. Much more than straightforward military considerations were at stake. Britain was at a crucial new phase of its war, seeking to both impress and restrain its new American allies, while managing a tortuous partnership with the Soviet Union. It was having to learn the deference due to powers on whose resources victory ultimately depended. Jubilee was intimately linked to those realities. Its outcome showed how the pressures of high politics could override military